I'm Leann with Sewing with Leann. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my dad passed away 2 months ago today, actually, and I have a bunch of his button-up shirts that I'm turning into gifts for family members. This is the third video in this memory project series. The first one, I made memory pillows, and in the second one, we made fabric wrapped frames. Everything we're doing, we are using shirts that my dad wore. And today's project is a little bit different, but it's still special and very meaningful. I made a scrunchy dog bandana for my dog. So the back is a scrunchie, so it's easy to just slip on over your dog's head. My dad and my dog had a very sweet, special bond. Whenever we would go and stay with my parents, my dog would sleep in a beanbag next to my dad every single night. So I knew that I wanted to do something special for my dog. And so I used one of my dad's shirts and made this bandana. And so now I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's get started. Okay, so I have my shirt. I'm going to use this one for my dog. First, I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to cut off the sleeves. Kind of like the way I did with the pillow. I'm going to cut off the sleeves and then I'm going to keep that. And I will keep this one. And then, okay, and then I'm going to just cut the side seams. So it'll be like 2 pieces. All right, and then I am going to take the back, because I think I probably have enough fabric. Oh, I definitely do. On the back to just use the back for the pieces that I need. So I'm going to kind of cut right back here along this seam, and then where that little like pleat is, I'm going to, oh yeah. It's probably best if you use a seam ripper instead of just doing it with your hand like I did, but oh well. Okay, so I had tried this already and completely messed up because I forgot to fold the fabric. So I'm gonna try and fold it and do it right this time. I'm gonna flip it this way and make sure that I have it correct. Okay, so we're gonna fold our fabric, and then where it's folded, you're gonna do 15. So 15 inches. So I'm gonna put a mark here. It might be kind of hard for you to see the mark. And then I'm gonna measure down 2 inches. So I'm just gonna make a line with my marking tool. All right, so 10 inches, and then I'm gonna come down 10 inches. And the way I'm gonna do this to make sure that it's kind of in the right spot is I've realized that on this side, if I line up the edge of my ruler here, the other edge will be right there. So this is kind of like what helps me. And then you can put a mark at 10 inches. But then over on this side, okay, so then I'm gonna do another mark at 10. And then just try and get this. Yeah, okay. Up to that line. And then there. And then measure the 10 inches here. and then cut there. All right, so then this is what you should be left with. And if you open it up, it'll look like that. Okay. So you've got the front part, and now we are going to work on the elastic casing. Okay. So I might have to get a different part of the shirt. All right, so I'm going to use the sleeve and cut down the seam. Okay. And then I'm going to open it up, and you can actually get like a pretty good amount of fabric out of the sleeve, which is really cool. All right, so I need 18 inches. So it's going to be like right around there. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to come down 3.5 inches. On each side. So 3.5. Okay. Cut across those lines. Okay. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is work on the scrunchie piece. So we're going to fold it in half this way with the right sides facing each other, which this one, I don't think it really matters on shirts. But if yours has like a pretty side, then make sure that you're looking at the not pretty side. And then I'm going to clip down the raw edges. And then I'm going to sew down this side using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, now that you have your piece sewn, you're going to turn it right sides out, and you can do it like this if you want. I actually like to use, this is like a tube turner, I think is what it's called. I will link it. Or you can use like a boba straw and a chopstick. And wait, yeah, that's right. So then you'll just kind of put it all on there, and then at the top, you'll push it through like this. All right, and so then once that is done, you're just going to press the seams. So I'm going to put it to where the seam is like right there. Let's see. So then I'm going to lay this piece aside, and then I'm going to grab this one and open it up. And then on these short edges here, I'm actually going to flip it face down and put it up on the edges here about like, I would say a 1/2 inch maybe. I'm kind of guessing at that. let's see, a little bit smaller. Okay, so 1/2 inch, and press, and then do that for the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I am going to sew and just kind of attach that. Okay, now take that same piece and fold it right sides together. I'm going to pin or clip along the diagonal side. And then I'm going to sew starting here. Sew all the way down, pivot when you get to the corner, and then sew up here, and make sure not to sew across this part. We need to leave this open. And I'm sewing with a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. Okay, and when I get about a 1/4 of an inch from the edge, I'm gonna stop. And then I'm gonna put my needle down. I'm gonna lift up the lever for the presser foot. I'm just gonna turn it towards me, lower, and then keep sewing. Okay, so now I trimmed that corner right there just so that that will kind of lay a little bit nicer when we turn it right sides out. So then you're going to take one of the openings and you're going to turn this right sides out. Okay. And then use something like a chopstick, nothing too sharp, and kind of like poke out the corner there. Okay. And then I'm going to press the seams. So then that's what you should have, starting to come together. And then grab your elastic. I just found this in my stash and I think it's what I've used before on my dogs. It's like a woven, it's supposed to be like non-roll. And let's see, it's about 3/4 of an inch. But if you have a smaller dog, you might need like a 1/2 inch. But I'm gonna use this and go ahead and like pre-stretch it out. And then take your piece here and grab a safety pin and put your safety pin through here. Okay. And then insert your elastic through the tube here and use the safety pin to kind of pull it through. And you want to stop when the edge of your elastic gets to the edge of your tube here. Okay, so now that I'm here, I'm gonna take this to my machine and I'm gonna sew across here about a 1/4 of an inch, and that is just gonna secure that end. Okay, and I use like a pink thread so that hopefully you could see it. And so I just kind of back stitched over it a couple times. And so now I'm gonna go find that safety pin and I'm gonna finish threading it all the way through, and make sure that your elastic isn't getting twisted at any point. Okay, and then bring it to the edge and then sew again here. So now you can kind of stretch out the piece and kind of make it look more scrunchy like. And then grab your other piece and we're going to take one side and we're going to insert it here. And then you can sew to attach, kind of right there where you sewed before. So make sure that it's coming over just a little bit more. So I'm going to take that over to the sewing machine and show you how I'm doing that. All right, and so I'm just going to use that, the previous stitches as a guide. And so I'm just going to use that, the previous stitches as a guide. Okay, so then you have this, and I like to flip it over and then just bring that other side, making sure not to twist it. Bring it over and insert it into the other side there. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and then you will also just sew across that side. Okay, and there is your finished bandana. And that's how it looks on the back. It's got the scrunchie, so this is going to be like really easy to take on and off. If you have like a cute little tag, you can kind of put that into the seam. I love it. And I actually think I am going to top stitch around here and just kind of make that look a little neater. So I'm going to top stitch it and then I will show you what that looks like. And there is our finished bandana. I top stitched it and gave it another nice press, and now it's ready for my dog. So this is such a sweet project, especially if they left behind a beloved pet, or in my dad's case, a beloved grand puppy. So I am going to go try this on my dog. Nope, come, sit. Leave it. Oh, no, sit, sit. Come here. Sit, sit. Okay, and there we go, your finished bandana. I hope you loved this tutorial. In the comments, let me know what you would like me to try next. If you have any ideas, any suggestions, any questions, please just leave those in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe so you get notified of my future projects. Okay, see you next time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.